Here we are, back again, because the projects never seem to end, ever. It's another DIYary. The reason I've been doing a lot of touch-ups recently is actually because I am dying to show you a finished house tour, but every time I think about filming that, I realise that there's so many things that I haven't quite finished yet. So today I'm going to be tackling a lot of those, so hopefully in the next few weeks, fingers crossed, I can finally say this house is finished. Because I'm currently sat in my office right now, let's start here and I'll tell you what I've done in this room. A few months ago I touched up some areas of paint in this room to make it look a little bit fresher. However, I got the correct colour, I just didn't get the right finish. I got the matte finish and I think this is like an eggshell or a satin on the walls. Something, can't remember, but it's not matte. So I put the paint on the wall and it looked great, but when it dried from certain angles you could see just big patches of matte wall paint. So I decided to come in and actually do this job properly. So I filled all of the holes on the chimney and the opposite wall over here and sanded them down to make it nice and smooth. Once I was done with that, I took a miniature paint roller because I couldn't find a decent sized one anywhere for some reason, and I was not about to go out for an hour to go and get a paint roller, so I stuck it out and I painted over both of the walls. Obviously this is my office and I do a lot of home styling, so I've put loads of things on the walls over the last few years and repositioned stuff, and it just wasn't looking as fresh as it could be, so I wanted to give it a clean slate and make the walls look as if they were new, well, as close to new as possible. With the walls done, I noticed that my desk in comparison was looking a little bit scruffy. And I don't want to do this house tour with a scruffy desk because I am a Virgo. So I had to make it perfect, so I decided to give it another coat of paint. This is Rust-Oleum's furniture paint in Hessian. I love this colour. It is a kind of off-whitey beige and I use it around the house quite a lot. It's honestly kind of boring, but I love it and it works really well. I don't like the chalky finish, I prefer the satin finish. It kind of holds up a little bit better. That being said, this desk gets beaten up by me doing DIY projects and doing my makeup here every morning, so that's why it was looking a little rough around the edges. With the desk area done and freshened up, it was time to turn my attention to this side of the room. You might remember my old brown sofa, which has been with me since I moved into this house. I call it my saggy bum sofa because it looks like a saggy butt. It really does, like the middle. I don't love it, but it was free, so I can't complain, and it's really done me well this whole time. It's been very comfortable. However, that being said, I've always been thinking about getting a more practical couch for my office. Perhaps one that actually folds out into a bed, because anytime my friends come over I drag a mattress onto the floor and do like a little bed on the floor, so one has the guest room and one has this room. I always feel bad that they're sleeping on the floor. I don't know. It was about time to pass the sofa on to another home, and when Swyft Sofas reached out to me and asked me if I wanted one of their sofas, I couldn't say no because their sofas are absolutely stunning. Just FYI, this video is not sponsored at all, but Swyft did gift me this beautiful sofa and I am so in awe because it's absolutely stunning. My sofa has arrived and they were kind enough to put it upstairs for me. So let's see if we can put this together. Oh, efficient. Oh, the colour is so pretty. Armrests. Oh. Good thing it's recycling this week. That looks so good. I believe this one is a model 4, which I picked because it folds out to be a double bed. The fabric I chose is the linen in pumice, and I think this is a perfect neutral couch that will transition into any house that I have in the future. Oh, I love it. This is what it looks like pulled out to be a whole double bed. Oh my god, it's really comfy too. I love this couch so much. A massive thank you to Swyft for this beautiful sofa. I'm going to link them down below if you're interested. I am head over heels in love with it, and I think the thing that I'm most impressed by is that they don't have really long wait times. I know you can wait months to get a sofa sometimes, so definitely check out Swyft if you're looking for a really cool, beautiful, modern sofa that's going to arrive fairly quickly. What happened to the old bum couch? I'm actually giving that to a friend of mine who's moving, and I'm really pleased that it's going to have another home. I've put it downstairs in the sitting room for the time being. If you're wondering what happened to the sitting room, I have a whole video coming up about shifting all the stuff around in there. I told you I'm on a bit of a finishing things up kick at the moment, so there's a little bit of that content coming up soon. Anyway, let's move on to another thing that I did in the house recently, which was the flooring in the utility room. Heads up, some of this footage is pre-ginger hair, so I think it was filmed in like April or May, which just feels like a really long time ago. I have this tendency to start projects and then forget about them. It's a really bad habit, but I finished it in the end, so let me show you what I did in here.
So as you can see, the flooring was never finished properly. There's a huge gap between the floor and the skirting board, and that's because I didn't have these edging pieces in at the time the flooring was being done. So here I am doing them myself. The main area I wanted to do was around the radiator section. It just didn't look brilliant. So I just cut them to size, took off the paper from the backing of the self-adhesive tape and measured them, made sure they fit. And then once that was done, I was able to go in with a solvent grab adhesive and stick them down properly. Now, obviously, this is not a professional grade job. I just wanted it to look much tidier than it is, because it just isn't, it's never looked done. And I am still thinking, shall I replace this flooring? I think at some point the time will come when I have to, but for the time being, while I'm making that decision, I've got the tools and the equipment. Let's just finish it off and make it look nice. So as you can see, the final touch is going in with a cork and getting rid of the excess so that it just blends into the floor, and you can hardly tell that there was a really ugly gap there in the beginning. I also touched up a few sections with some paint as well while I was at it, because this was painted about 3 years ago, so it needed a freshen up and it needed some nice crisp edges as well. Look how straight I got that line without tape. I'm quite impressed. Anyway, as you can see, my hair colour's changed and I've grown a new set of roots in that long space of time where I wanted to finish this project. But the last thing I had to do to tidy up the floor was to add a flooring piece between this and the kitchen so that no one was going to trip over the step. Once again, I'm using a solvent grab adhesive to put this into place. If this was going to be a permanent solution, I'd also screw it into the floor as well, but I just want it to stay for the time being while I make a decision about what to do next. Okay, this is where we're at. As you can see, I've added the end piece on the top and I've held that in place with grip fill, and I'm using some masking tape to keep it in place. There was also quite a big step up, so I decided to add one of those corner pieces underneath it to make sure no one's going to trip over it. It
obviously is a bit sticky, needs cleaning up, but I'm going to wait until it's dry and take these off tomorrow and finish it up. Honestly, it doesn't look the best, but I really don't love this flooring. So I just wanted to neaten it up for the time being, and then just, if I have time, maybe one day, change the floor out. But this is the best I can do for now.
And just when I thought I was finished, because I can't leave anything alone apparently, I went in and I touched up a few areas with paint. First, the windowsills, because my plants had spilled some plant juice on them that I couldn't get off, and I thought it was about time for a touch up. And secondly, this small section of the wall where the bins go, because no matter how hard I clean this wall, sometimes there is also a little bit of bin juice on the wall, so I touched that up with the same paint I used 3.5 years ago. This is what it looked like, and then I was able to put the bins back.
Once all of the adhesive had dried on the floor, I was able to take off all of the tape, and the floor finally looks finished. I wish I hadn't put this off for so long. In one mind I was putting it off because I hated the floor and I really wanted to replace it, but I had all the stuff to finish it off, so why didn't I don't know, it's just one of those things. But it's done now, so yeah, looking a lot nicer. And then there's a few other touch-ups I did in the house. In my guest bedroom, there was an old water tank that was decommissioned ages ago, but it had stained the ceiling quite a lot, and no matter how many times I painted over it, it doesn't cover it up. So I bought this stain blocker paint and touched it up with that, and I think, fingers crossed, that has actually maybe done the job. So that's something I did recently. It's just a little project, but I think it looks a lot better. I'm currently working on the small bedroom off to the side of the guest bedroom. This is going slowly because most of these projects I started doing in the height of the summer, and it's been so hot. I don't think I have that excuse for much longer because it's grey outside today, so I'm gonna have to crack on with finishing that. I won't spoil too much of the reveal, so I'll show you all of that in a video in the future, but I am cracking on with that. I don't know why it's taking me so long. Procrastination, probably. But there's a little hallway outside of that space, and I didn't realise it, but there were loads of areas that needed touching up on the ceiling and on the walls in there. Thinking back, I think what happened here is when I was getting the hallway painted, I had some of the paint left over, and the decorators I'd contracted till the end of the week, and they had a bit of time left, so they were able to start on this little hallway. But they weren't gonna have enough time to finish it, so I told them, don't worry, I will finish it. If you can just carry on, that would be great. So they went in and they filled a lot of the holes after doing the first few coats of paint. And after that I was supposed to have finished it and I forgot, so yeah. This was an easy one. I just had to touch up the white on the ceiling and the paint colour on the walls, and if you saw my last DIYary, I touched up the paint in the hallway. It's the same paint, so that worked out really well. I had some of that left. Super easy, job done. Should have done that ages ago. Once again, here we are. Another thing that I'd forgotten to do for the longest time was to paint the hatch to cover up this massive hole in my small bathroom. So I had this piece of wood cut a long time ago, and all I had to do was paint it white. That was all I had to do, literally all I had to do, and I'd forgotten to do it. So here's me just giving it a few coats of paint, letting it dry, and shoving it in so it's no longer a problem that I have to deal with at some point.
Don't fall on me. Ah, ha ha. It's in, it will do. I currently can't access my ladder, so I've done my best, and when I can get the ladder in here I'm going to straighten it up. But that looks so much better. I'm glad that's done.
I think that is everything I've been doing around the house lately. I've got a couple more things I want to do, but then it's house tour time. So with all of that being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you're renovating yourself, please let me know in the comments what you're doing, what projects have you started, and if you want to, you can check out my Instagram. Sometimes I put house related stuff and thrifty stuff up on there, and yeah, with all of that being said, thank you for watching, happy DIYing, and I'll see you next time. Bye!